buenos días, good afternoon, buenas tardes, good evening, buenas noches, whenever it is that you get to see this. My name is Miss Adri and I'm here to teach you some stuff. And today we're going to talk about language learning. So, in the time that I've been teaching and tutoring and all of that stuff, people approach me all the time asking me how they can improve their accent, how can they speak a language more fluidly, how can they associate things with the language a little bit more. And I always give them the same advice. And this is for people that are learning a second language or a third language or a fourth language, and oh my goodness, even a fifth language. Wouldn't that be amazing? So here are my top 10 tips for language learners. Let's get started. Join a group of people that are learning the same language you are, or join a group or make friends with people that speak the language you are learning and they are trying to learn one of the languages that you actually speak. Why should you do this? Well, simple. First of all, it's going to help you become more proficient, and also it's going to help you learn how to talk like a native because it's very easy, quote unquote, to learn the basics of any language. But another part that comes along with learning a language is to talk like the locals do. For example, in English, there's a bunch of phrases that don't exist in Spanish, and the same goes for Spanish and English, and you just can't translate them. The purpose of making friends or having that sort of little group, it will help you to become more proficient, and it also gives you a couple of buddies to practice with. Number 9, get interested in the culture. It won't do you much good if you're learning a new language and you don't learn about the culture that is part of that language. For example, if you're going to learn French, you would do a little bit of research on French culture. If you're going to learn Portuguese, you would learn about Portuguese culture or Brazilian culture, even though the Portuguese in Brazil and Portugal is a little bit different. If you are learning Spanish, you would learn about Spanish culture and Spanish in Latin America, like Mexico, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, etc. All of those countries have their own particular way of speaking their language, and it's beautiful, and it will make you a better speaker if you actually learn culture from the place that that language comes from. Number 8, talk to yourself in your target language. Yes, it sounds a little bit silly, but you know what? We already have internal dialogue up here. Why not try to switch up our internal dialogue once in a while in our target language? Talk to yourself as if you were having a conversation with somebody else. Practice simple things like how to order a drink, how to ask where the bathroom is, how to order a pizza, how to say hello to somebody, how to ask for directions. Even though you think that you might sound silly, you are actually doing what you're supposed to do. Next tip, why are you learning this language? This is something that's very important because you have to find the purpose of why you're learning this new language. Does it have to do with work? Does it have to do with pleasure? Does it have to do because you want to impress somebody? This is important for us to think about because determining the purpose behind you learning this new language will actually determine how much love or how much emphasis you're actually going to give to this new language that you are now determined to learn. Number 6, don't be afraid to push yourself and leave your comfort zone. Look, I understand that this is not an easy tip to follow, but even if it's once in a while, do it. Change your electronic devices into your target language, at least one. It will do a world of difference. My mom is learning Italian. And she changed everything except her computer because of work into her target language, which is Italian. And it's made a world of difference. This will help your brain associate things that you already know, something as simple as how to make a phone call, how to send a text message, etc. Our brains are marvelous things and they can adapt and change at the drop of a hat. Learn like a child. Now you are not an adult in your new language, but you are a child. Read children's books, listen to children's music. You are starting from zero, and the simpler you keep certain aspects of your target language, the easier it's going to be for you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can look for tips, you can look for strategies that teachers use in order for children to acquire language and apply them to your language needs. Connecting with the previous tip, watch kids' movies. I'm not kidding. This works like a charm. Grab your favorite Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, Blue Sky, whatever kids movie, and watch it with the audio in your target language with the subtitles in your dominant language or in your target language. This is going to make your brain do the association between audio, visual, word. It works like a charm. The best thing is, you already know what happens in the movie. Cinderella is always going to leave her shoe at the steps of the palace. Snow White is always going to get poisoned by her wicked stepmother. Shrek is always going to rescue Fiona, and Donkey's always going to fall in love with that strange lady dragon. Number 3, make mistakes. Yes, mistakes are something that we don't want to make usually. But you know what? The good thing is that the more mistakes you make, the more you will learn. It's okay to put an O or an A or an E or a sound where it doesn't belong because you are learning. The important part is that you actually correct that mistake when somebody points that out. That's part of learning. I'm a perfectionist myself, and you know what? I'm very hard on myself because I want to do everything right the first time. But you know what? Through the years, I've learned that if I make a mistake, it's okay as long as I correct it and I learn and become better because of it. Tip number 2, listen to music in your target language. This is going to help you so much, and it goes along with the tip that I gave you in regards to culture. It will help you learn more phrases inside of the language. It will help you associate sounds with said language. Look, I speak very little French. I can barely speak it, I think. But one of my favorite artists to listen to is La Piaf or Edith Piaf because I can understand what she is singing about because of the little French that I took back in high school. And the good thing also about music is that you don't need to know every single thing that the artist is saying in order for you to understand the emotion behind it. And emotions in language are super, super, super important because it's not the same to say, I'm so happy right now, as in to say, I'm so happy right now. You have to determine those emotions. You have to know how to difference the emotions and the tones in each language, especially if you're trying to learn a new one. And Miss Adri's number 1 tip for language learners is go visit the country where your target language is spoken or where it's most prevalent or where everybody speaks it. There is nothing like immersing yourself in the culture and the language that you are learning. It sounds like, oh, it's so complicated. It's not. Stay somewhere for a month, 2 months, 3 months, as much as you can economically afford, of course. But trust me, most of the time when you tell locals that you are learning their language, not only will they receive you with open arms, but most of the time they'll go out of their way to help you become even more proficient and even more dominant in that language. That is it for this video. I hope that you can use and apply some of these tips that I have for you in your learning a new language journey. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and follow me on all of the social media platforms. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You will see all of my handles in the next screen. See ya!